after interest from Newcastle, Manchester United have agreed a £73.3 million deal with RB Leipzig to sign Benjamin Shesho. After being caught in what seemed like a messy love triangle, what do the Newcastle and Manchester United fans make of it all?
The fact that this would happen tells me that the Big Six are more of a statured club worldwide as opposed to the likes of Newcastle.
We've made a lot of players better, and if a 22-year-old called Shesho wants to go to Man United because he thinks they've got a better plan, which they've had several better plans over the last 4 or 5 years, and were 15th in the Premier League last year, then so be it. That's not a player we would want.
Ray, just quickly to get your thoughts on this one then. Are you surprised that Shesho might be opting for Manchester United when Newcastle are offering Champions League football, or does United still have
Well, they've still
pull?
got the pulling power. They certainly have. I mean, look, it's been a horrendous season. Every Man United fan would know that, but they've still got a history around the world. They're still one of the biggest clubs in the world still. There's no doubt in that. And he's probably, he's probably looked at it and said, Manchester United can't get that much worse, can they? They can only improve now. Under Almiron, and he's trying to build. Look, the signings he's made so far have been very good.
Yeah,
Cunha and Burmo, obviously you know him from Brentford.
Yeah,
exciting player. And Shesho now. Look, you never know when you're going to buy a player how they're going to hit the ground running. A little bit like Arsenal buying the striker. Whether he can hack it in the Premier League is a lot more difficult, but Shesho now is going in there and he's now looking like a little bit of a better team now. And a lot of people were hopeful. I don't think they're really optimistic that they will finish high, and it's all about building.
Yeah.
It's all about coming. Can you get in that top 8 next season? And it's amazing to talk about being in the top 8 because you never really understood Man United being out the top 4, did you, back in the day? We was always battling against Man United. There was always the best team. But now it goes round in circles and they will come back. There's no doubt about it. They will get back. It might take a little bit of time, and I'm sure the Manchester United fans will be patient, looking and try and give every chance of getting back. But, he hasn't got a magic wand. It will take a little bit of time, but he's certainly buying players now to probably challenge again, to try and get in that top 8, and then you build again, then you build again. But Newcastle are a massive side as well. Around the world, people know Newcastle. Great football area. North East is a real, and I'm so pleased Sunderland are back in it as well because I can't wait for that derby, Newcastle-Sunderland. And Newcastle, look, they'll be gutted that Isak is leaving, but all they've got to try and do now is get the most they can get for him, money-wise, and then try and reinvest it in the squad again.
It's interesting that point you made, though, about, it wasn't that long ago, I say not that long ago, a decade or so ago, that it was always default Manchester United top 4.
Oh, easy.
Title challengers, etc.
If you said to me, 10 years later, they're going to be coming 16th and no chance. Because of the club's size around the world and the support they have. Yeah. And I would have said no chance.
All right, it's now time for Olivia's favourite song. What a face she's pulling. Yeah. It's a grimace, I would say. Gosh. No. Turn that off. Turn it off, Ed.
That might be the worst intro I've ever had to anything in my entire life.
I'm so sorry.
But anyway, now we get to talk about Spurs, and after they got battered by Bayern Munich yesterday. 4-0, Harry Kane scored.
That put a smile on your face.
Yeah, it did. No, but in all seriousness, for Spurs, back end of last season, they couldn't have really asked for much more given where they were in the league and the way that Son's gone out, and they've got Champions League football. But after the Maddison injury, right, Solanke hasn't played a minute in pre-season. Their options. Kulusevski's injury prone.
He's injured.
Yeah, they've got Mateus Tell, they've got Brennan Johnson. I think Mohamed Kudus is a very good sign.
Yeah, he's a good signing. But he would have been the one, Gibbs White.
Yes.
Well, they're crying out, Ray, aren't
Gibbs
they, for
White
a number 10, a creative player, especially now that James Maddison's out for the season.
Absolutely, but they're hard to find. That's the big problem. But Gibbs White, when he was talked about going to Spurs, I said to all my Spurs mates, what a signing that'd be, because he's been brilliant at Forest. Forest fans would be over the moon that he's staying now and signing a new contract. But he would have been a real asset for Spurs going forward, for the sort of money they was going to pay for him as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know about Spurs. I mean, it was a brilliant season in the end last year. I know the league form wasn't very good, but to win a trophy and get in Champions League football, you can't ask for much more than that, can you? And every Tottenham fan I know said what a journey it was. Get to that final, they'll always remember that that fight. A little bit like West Ham when they won the Conference League. It'd always be in their memories that they went all the way in Europe and won a trophy. So, Spurs will be interested next season. Look, I think they've got a very good manager. Well, Natalie will tell you a lot more about the manager, Thomas Frank. I think he's getting much more organised. I know I'm not having a go at Ange, but at times in the league he didn't really know how to change things. And
Thomas,
Thomas he's very much look at the other opposition and try and. It's like a game of chess, right? If they're a better team than us, how can we stop them with their assets? And
adapting in it.
And it'd be much better doing that, I think, Thomas Frank.
But the issue you have is that you've got Thomas Frank coming in who wants to be supported by Daniel Levy. And yes, okay, the Morgan Gibbs-White thing didn't work out. Yeah. And they have brought in Mohamed Kudus, like you've mentioned. But, I mean, they need more. Clearly, he needs more.
Well, especially in the Champions League. Especially in the Champions League. You know the format now. You're playing a lot more games and you need a bigger squad. And I don't know if they've got the depth. If you get a couple of injuries like they've had, a couple of more Madison injuries into key players, then you're in trouble. So they do certainly need a few more bodies through the door, definitely.
I wonder, Ray, if obviously your league form is a reflection of how good you are, right? So the league form is a reflection of how good Spurs were last season, and they weren't very good. Obviously, you can go on a good cup run. I've seen my team win big competitions when you haven't been the best team in it, but just there's something about it, that run and they go on and win it. But do you think maybe them being in the Champions League has come a little bit too early for this squad and Thomas Frank maybe? Do you think they're maybe more suited to, again, perhaps playing in the Europa League? Because it does feel like,
I can see what you're saying,
their squad maybe isn't quite ready to compete at the highest level.
But I'm sure Daniel Levy will say, well, financially, we're ready, because the money they will get in from the Champions League is so important for the club. I know what you're saying. It might be a bit too soon, but you just got to try and compete, And Spurs, look, they've got the stadium now. The stadium's amazing. It's now getting that team organised on that pitch and trying to compete every single season. They want to be in the Champions League every season, and that is the most important thing for clubs now, financially. But it will take time, and again, Daniel Levy needs to back the manager. If he thinks they've really put themselves out to get Thomas Frank, didn't they? I mean, it cost them a lot of money to get revenge and bring all their staff and all the staff leaving. So now it's all about, right, we've got to support him. And what does he need to make this team challenge the top 5, top 4, whatever it is? And that's he needs a bit of help now from the owner. Whether he's going to get it is another matter.
Well, and what a test they've got next week when they're taking on PSG in the UEFA Super Cup.
But they're the sort of games you want to be involved in.
Oh, absolutely.
This is what it's all about, being a Spurs fan. To get to that final and beat Manchester United. I said it was a really weird final, because whoever loses is going to be so disappointed with the league form as well, how they competed in the league. That Man United fans were the ones who were disappointed, but Spurs are over the moon. They've won a trophy, back in the Champions League, and now they're Super Cup, whatever it is they're in, and it's good for the club, isn't it? Yeah, financially as well.
Yeah. Tottenham fans, why not have your say this morning by calling in on 03717 223344? Are you fearing the worst when you take on PSG on Wednesday? How deflating has this transfer window been for you, with the Gibbs-White saga, and now Maddison's out with an ACL? Your captain Son has left as well. So do you feel that Thomas Frank is really up against it? Why not get in touch? We'd love to hear from you. Olivia, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Olivia.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.